Eqstra is a diversified leaser of industrial construction and mining equipment and is a major player in the open-cast contract mining and plant hire sectors. Eqstra unbundled from Imperial Holdings in April 2008 and services clients throughout Africa, the United Kingdom and Ireland. Eqstra has a market cap of 3 billion rand and a price-to-earnings ratio of 8. Well, where do we start with this? Feeder into the mining sector, which in other words, is good?
Yeah, look, I went on a site visit to see these chaps about 18 months ago, and I must admit, I was blown away by what I saw. It's only when you get up close and personal and you see the kind of plant that these guys are dealing in, big Terex equipment. The Bucyrus stuff, okay, I know that contract is coming to an end because of the fact that Barlow World owns Caterpillar nowadays. But nevertheless, you know, you're talking some very, very serious equipment into some very, very serious minings, open cast and otherwise, but mainly open cast.
When you talk about it, give us more of a picture, because you said you've been up there to visit. What kind of equipment are we talking about?
You're talking about trucks made by Terex, T-E-R-E-X, big American company. And I mean, to try and give you some sort of perspective, the wheels, the tires in these things would reach the roof of the studio.
All right, now we're getting a visual picture.
Okay.
This is some serious mobile equipment into the mining environment.
Yes, absolutely. And I tell you what I like, Rowan, is the fact they're ready not just to work in Africa, but to work to contract in Africa. And it's Southern Africa, Africa south of the Sahara. I think we're going to see a lot of resource development, and they're right here. And we've got certainly the Chinese, Indians, others wanting to secure the source of the resources which they need for their own development. And here we can exploit it, we know how to do it, very well placed.
Is it an exponential growth story from here, in other words, Chris?
No, I don't think it's exponential. I think it's going to take a bit of time. You know, they went through a really tough patch a couple of years ago getting their balance sheet back into shape. You know, they were at risk in some of the debt covenants there for a while. But they've done that, and now the balance sheet's actually looking quite robust. From here on in, a lot depends obviously on international commodity prices. It depends to a large extent on mining activity, both here and, as Ian says, in the rest of Africa as well. And in the rest of Africa, they made a point when we went to that presentation about some of the logistical problems in terms of actually physically getting plant into parts of Africa. It's not easy. So it's not going to be exponential, but I think good, steady growth.
And when we do think about the commodity story and the metal prices, how do you stand on that fact? I know that you've got some thoughts on the commodity environment.
Yes. Bronwyn, my view is that the economy isn't dead and buried, the world economy. Growth will pick up. It won't be as exciting as it was in the early 2000s, but it's going to be positive. Liquidity is going to be pumped into the system. It's going to go into resource development to an extent. The world economy is going to grow. And I think that that is a fact of life, and therefore this is a good sector to be in, to share it, perhaps to lead it.
All their balance sheet woes completely behind them now, Chris?
I think so. You know, as I say, it was very tough, and the moment they got spun out of Imperial, they were on their own. And you know, Walter Hill and his guys have done, I think, a fantastic job in restructuring that balance sheet. So I think that's largely behind them now, and I don't have too much of a problem from that perspective at all.
Is there anything that would get you to heed caution when it comes to looking at Eqstra?
No, only with regard to the market as a whole. No, I think that if one believes in recovery, and one believes it's going to be commodity price led, which it must be if industrial development is to continue, it's a heck of a good area to be in. There's nothing against it. Good management, as Chris has just said, really that's important.
But I know now they were unbundled, obviously, from Imperial.
Yes.
Is there any chance that someone else might pick them up? Why not a Barlow World?
Look, I hear what you say, but you know, Barlow World has done its own form of kind of rationalisation in the past few years. I'd be very surprised if they wanted to try and pick this up and start bulking up again. I think Barlow's is now a much more streamlined company than it ever was. And
so this doesn't fit with their business?
It fits with parts of it do. But you know, the Caterpillar side and Terex, for example, would fit in.
So the mobile
and
mining
Toyota,
equipment,
yeah.
That element of it. But a no-go, a bit of a wild card.
Look, it'd be a fit in certain aspects, but I don't know if that's on the cards at all.
And to get over, in any case, the shareholders, Mutual's got about, Coronation's got nearly 30%. Old Mutual Group has got over 20%.
So not
That's
much free float then?
No, and so somebody comes along with an offer, they've got to persuade them. they need to sell. And why should they? Why have they built up those holdings? Because they got in, and when it was good value, probably still is, and aren't going to change their minds in a hurry.
Well, maybe we should be following Old Mutual and Coronation on this one. Chris, hot or not on Eqstra?
I like Eqstra. I think it's a hot stock.
It's a hot stock,
Yes,
and
positive,
in
definitely,
hot.
yeah.